Right here I'm holding a pencil holder or a pen holder. I made this as a gift for my daughter because she likes to write, and I thought having something handmade might inspire her to write a little bit. It's made out of 4 pieces of wood. Right here, this is African Padauk. It has a reddish brown color. Then you have your walnut. This is maple, and over here is zebra wood. The bottom, it's also maple. I sanded it to a very fine, smooth finish. I'm talking smooth like silk. Rubbing this thing, it's like rubbing silk wood. Very smooth, very soft. And then I just finished it off with mineral oil, and here's the finished product. Now, since I made this, multiple family members have brought it to my attention that they would want one. And I said, okay, yeah, sure, I'll make you one. And then other people brought it to my attention that they would want one. So I said, you know what, I'll make a video for anybody out there that might want to make their own, or I don't know, maybe I'll make one for you. But in any event, that's what I'm about to do. I'm going to use these 5 pieces of wood, these 5 pieces of hardwood, 4 sides and a base. Since I'm making 4 pencil boxes or 4 pencil holders, I'm going to mix them up. But I'm going to use walnut, maple, purple heart, African mahogany, and African Padauk. These are the tools that I'm going to use. I'm going to use my table saw, my miter saw, wood clamps, wood glue, sandpaper, belt sander, and I might use a planer as well, a hand planer. Anything else I need, I will let you know as it goes on, as the process goes on. So without further ado, let me put all my safety equipment on and let's get started. I'm outside on my table saw and I'm about to cut all the pieces perfectly square, and I set up the blade, which is roughly a 1/4 inch higher than the wood. You see the pieces that I cut on the table saw right here in front of me. This is what it's gonna look like. So I'm about to glue the pieces together, and that's simply take 2 different colors, do my best to line them up on the edge, and I'm gluing them together. I have my quick release bar clamps and some C clamps. Glue that together. Then, after I glue them together, they'll look like this. I'm take and sand them real smooth so you can't feel where the 2 pieces connect on my belt sander.
sanding pad, you can see that it has built up a collection of sawdust. Now, these pads, they're not the cheapest thing, they're not that expensive, but with this little tool right here, it's like an eraser. I'm going to turn on the sander and it will erase all of the sawdust off in a few seconds. So just that fast, with this eraser, you have a brand new sanding pad and you're ready to keep going.
Right here is the dust that I collected from sanding the pencil holders. I mean, as you see how fine this is, extremely fine. This is why you should always wear breathing protection. That was the initial sanding, just to get all the rough edges off. Now I'm going to take the two pieces and I'm going to glue them together in an L fashion. This is what they're going to look like. You've already seen this. I'm going to use again my quick release bar clamps and my C clamps. The wood glue that I use is Titebond 3 wood glue. Been using this stuff for years. It's never failed me. So right now, this is when you get to the creative side. What colors do you want to mix match? So take the maple and the African Padauk. That's a huge contrast. So I'm play around with them and go from there. The gluing process is one of those where it's very important. You don't want to mess this one up. It's just going to cause more work for you. So I have the two pieces that I want to glue together. This is the African Padauk with the maple. I line them up roughly where I want them to glue. So this is the point where I want them to contact each other. So I'm going to put a bead of glue here and then a bead of glue up here. There's multiple ways to put glue on. This is just how I'm doing it for right now. And what I like to do, there's the coverage. So what I like to do, I take them and I rub them back and forth until everything is completely covered. Just back and forth until every piece is covered. Right here, every piece is covered. Then I'm going to let this sit up for a second or two and keep on hand a wet towel. So I'm gonna let this sit up for a second or two just to get a little tacky. Tighten them up, you can see there's a little glue protruding. There's two ways you can do. There's two ways you can get that glue up. You can, one, take a wet towel and wipe it right now, or you can let it dry and then come back with a spatula and scrape the glue off. Either or, they both work. Since I'm here with the towel, I'm just going to wipe it away with the wet towel. Here, I purposely didn't wipe this bead of glue away. So as soon as it gets a little harder, I will take the spatula or screwdriver and scrape this up. It's been roughly 30 minutes, and as you see, the glue with the spatula comes right off. I have the remaining 8 pieces of wood being glued together. This is going to make one box. This is going to make another box. I have my other 2 boxes right there. So I'll let this sit overnight, roughly 24 hours. And then tomorrow I will come back and, like I said before, I'm going to take 2 equal pieces and glue them like this. And then that you'll see that the box is starting to come together. Just like before when I glued the two side pieces together, now I'm going to glue the two twos together to make a perfect square. I've already glued up the other one and it's more of a rectangular shape. So on this particular one, I'm going to make it a square. After I got done gluing all the sides together, it looked like this, and the next step was to put it onto the base and glue it. That's where this is right now. It's on the base being glued. Then once I take it out of the clamps, as you see, I have all this hangover. So then I'll go to the table saw, I'll cut the hangover off, and then I'm left with this after I sanded it. So these are the steps. I have making the box, gluing the base on, the base glued on, the finished product. I'm at the last stage. I just got done using the belt sander, and the belt sander did an amazing job. As I rub my finger from the base to the actual pencil holder, I feel nothing. It feels as if it was made like this. The belt sander is amazing. If you have a good sanding system, you can cover up a lot of imperfections. So that leads me to the last step. The last step is to take this and make it feel like silk. And in order to do that, I have varying grit sizes. On the belt sander, I was using an 80 grit, and what that did, I got everything level. Now I'm going to step up to 100 grit, then 220 grit, then I'm finish off with a super fine 400 grit. In order to get the sanding down just right, I'm just going to fold them, either sand with my hand or put a super high-tech sanding device in here, piece of wood, and sand it. And if that's not enough, I have different sizes of wood. And like I did before, if I want to sand inside, or when I go to sand inside, I have different sizes of woods as well. I have my handy sandpaper eraser tool. Love this thing. And I'm going to use my mask. Then when I get done sanding, they will feel like touching butter. Here's a little tip. In between sandings, when I'm changing from one grit to the next, I use a microfiber towel. I just took my brush and I brushed all the sawdust that I could off of this. Then I came back with this white microfiber towel and I'm wiping it down. And I don't know how good this is showing up on the camera, but I can see the dust that this took off. Just a little tip. Now it's time to put the mineral oil on the pencil holder and bring it to life. This is for sample purposes. This is the one I'm about to put the mineral oil on, and then you'll see the difference in the transformation. I'm just using regular grade mineral oil, and look at that. Look at how vibrant that looks. Just going to rub it in with my finger, and man, the walnut comes to life. Look, this is walnut, this is walnut. African Padauk, African Padauk. This is just beautiful. So I will put this over the entire box and let it sit until it absorbs throughout. The boxes have been sitting in the mineral oil for 24 hours. They've completely absorbed the oil. I'm just going to wipe off the excess. Finished boxes next to the unfinished box, just so you can get a good reference. This is the African Padauk next to the African Padauk. This is the purple heart next to the purple heart. This is walnut next to walnut. And here's the maple next to the maple. So I only have one more step. I'm going to put a leather insert in here. So I filled up the pencil boxes full of pens, pencils, just everything that you would have on your desk, so you can get a good idea of just how much stuff they can hold. It's a lot of stuff. The boxes have a nice weight to them. They're not too heavy, but they have a nice solid weight. This particular one weighs roughly 1 pound and 12 ounces. This one weighs roughly 1 pound and 8 ounces. They're both roughly the same height, and they are 4.5 inches tall, and this one is 4.5 inches wide. Since this is a rectangular shape, you know, the dimensions differ. I only have 2 left because I've given 3 away, and I couldn't even finish the video before people wanted them. So I guess that's a good thing, that's why I made them. The colors, I really like how all the colors fluctuate. I like the contrasting colors. This purple heart with the walnut, the mahogany with the zebra wood, then the maple just ties them all in. Really like how these came out. Really like how they came out. So if you've made it this far, I really appreciate you watching, because I know this was a pretty long video. Actually, all my videos are pretty long, so I always appreciate you watching. If you have any questions on these boxes, where I got the wood, what materials I use, any question like that, or if you might want me to make you one, I don't know, maybe we could work something out. So, as usual, I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up. And as usual, you guys have a blessed day. Thanks for watching.